Hi there, welcome to Roth and Aggie Reviews. I'm Kobe. Right now we're going to be reviewing a 2015-2014 film called Berkshire County. It's a Canadian film and it was released in 2014, but most cinemas, at least in Canada, had it in 2015. So it's a horror film, it's a thriller, and it's an action-fueled film. The movie is plot. The movie has a couple of plots, but the main one is about escaping a bunch of monsters or ghoul type creatures. So as we talk about the movie, before really we get into the horror, we have another kind of horror which is not really explored in movies like these. We have the horror of some guy taking advantage of the naive side of a teenage girl, making a video of her, which is quite embarrassing, and then she gets bullied by the guy's girlfriend. So again, we have kind of like a unfriended scenario here, like with Cybernatural, the movie I reviewed some time earlier. Starts off like that, and then it kind of goes into another kind of section of horror films. So yeah, the girl is a babysitter, and she's called in to babysit on Halloween Eve, and she's not really in this job. She doesn't really apply for it. Her mom applies for it because her mom finds out about this video that the girl's guy friend made and how embarrassing it was for the daughter. And it seems to me, which is strange, that the guy seems to be getting away with it, and the daughter, the girl, seems to be like the bad person, the perpetrator, even though she was the victim. Anyways, we'll talk about that later. So she is volunteered by her mom to, not volunteered, but she's given the job as a babysitter on Halloween Eve in an isolated mansion, which already there ringing bells. Oh, horror, horror. So the girl goes there. She drives, right? So she drives herself there. So she's obviously, or does she drive herself there? I don't remember if she actually drives herself there. Maybe her mom drops her off. Anyways, I do mention that because we might be wondering what age this girl is, and she's probably like 17, 18-ish. So yeah, but I just mentioned the driving there because I for some reason remember that. But now that I think about it, maybe it mixed up in my head. Anyways, so the film. She goes to the house and she kind of like has an awkward exchange with the mother of the kids she's babysitting, because she's the superintendent of the school that the babysitter goes to, and right there, she said the mother says to the girl quietly, no sex and none of your boyfriends. Like, that's a very, I don't know if that principal saw the video, but that was a very mean thing to say to the girl. So then the parents leave, and we got the usual sequence of events of horror. The knocking, the breaking in, and the guys with masks, but not any old masks, pig masks. So yeah, the guys have some sort of fascination with pigs. So these men, they terrorize the house, and they're wearing these pig masks, and then what happens after that is the girl is taken, and the kids are taken with her, and then there's these twists and semi-twists, and then the ending comes, which I won't spoil yet, right? Because I'm gonna get into spoilers later. But yeah, the ending is good. It's one of those funny endings. It's like one of those funny horror endings that you kind of laugh, but it's good because up until the ending you're like terrified. You're like, wait, what's going on? And then when the ending comes, it's like, I'm scared. And you burst out laughing, right? It's like a quick relief. So it's a good ending, and obviously the film wanted to do that. So yeah, I didn't really spoil anything. So yeah, for people who haven't seen the film yet and want to see it, suggest you stop here, and I'll give it a 1, 2, 3 second pause. Okay, now for the spoilers. I hope the people who haven't seen the film, don't want a spoiler, have already left. Now I'm gonna get into the spoiler. So yeah, the spoiler basically is that one of the 911 operators that the girl's talking to, the babysitter, actually turns out to be part of this pig masked gang, and tries to kill the girl, the babysitter. And then after that, we have a bunch of other sort of spoilers. But I think this one was the strongest one because you really, I mean, some people probably didn't expect it, but I'm always naturally believing in the altruism of people, even in horror films, and I just didn't think that someone would use, a 911 operator to, to trick one of their victims. But I'm naive, like the character in the movie. I think the best of everybody. Maybe that'll be part of my own, doom one day. Anyways, so yeah, and that's the spoiler, and then we have other spoilers, as I mentioned. So let's talk about this film. Is it good? Well, is it good or not? That's debate. It depends on your opinion. Do I think it's good? Do I think it's worth watching? Do I think it's worth watching a couple of times? Yes, I do. Why? Well, first of all, I like it because it uses the essential parts of horror films, and it does it well. And also, there are parts of it that are just really awkward to kind of get through, which is another good thing in horror, because once you have a character like this girl, and you have her in these awkward situations, and obviously she's a likable character, you naturally want her to survive and get through it, so that makes you stay in your seat. Would I watch it, would I recommend for people to watch it? Yes, because it's got good acting, and it does have an unusual storylines along with it. It does have an unusual ending and a funny ending. I mean, a lot of people that go to see horror films, in horror films, often hear a lot of screams, but you often hear a lot of giggles and laughs. So yes, in that case, it is good with that. It has the comedy aspect a couple of times throughout the film, but the ending is really funny, so it is worth watching. And it's a typical film that, you're laughing and screaming at the same time. It's really that. It really captures that kind of film, I wouldn't say genre, but that kind of film approach that some filmmakers do, especially in the horror genre. Would I see this film many times? I would. It's just that I don't know if I ever will get, access to it, because I did search about it on the internet, and there seems to be very little known about it. The movie was released almost 2 years ago. Probably, yeah, a good 2 years ago with its initial release, and there still hasn't been a Wikipedia page made about it. It seems to have been most often released in Canadian film festivals, such as the Kingston Film Festival and the Blood in the Snow Canadian Film Festival. I mean, it's a Canadian film, but it seems to be like one of those festival films that afterwards just seems to just disappear somewhere. And with that being said, it's a pity, because this is a good film, and definitely horror films that are scary and funny are ones to be, appreciated, because so many people enjoy laughing and being scared. And with two things together, it's really worth finding it and watching it. We'll say that this film, I guess, was specifically released to many film festivals because it's got those kind of qualities that film festivals, especially independent, experimental horror, underground, after dark film festivals have. So maybe that's kind of the catch, seeing it in the film festival. I didn't see it in a film festival, but I did see it in a movie theater that really has a film festival. Well, underground, experimental, alternative film festival feel to it. So yeah, it was a good feel, and it was a good experience. I would say one thing that I can learn from this film is that with films like these, I should really be checking out local film festivals like Fantasia Film Festival or the After Dark, because films like these, I mean, if this was released in a big theater, it wouldn't be the right fit in my opinion. But then again, there are the theaters, like the one I watched it in, which are a good fit. So what I do say about this movie before I switch off is that movies like these, if you see this film, look at the trailer of this film afterwards too, and then when you see trailers that are similar to the trailer of this film, deliberately try to seek it out in a film festival that usually has names such as Underground, Experimental, After Dark, Fairy Tale Film Festival, because that is the best experience to see it. They usually have no dry, they have the the alcohol there. it's usually 18, 19 plus, depending whether you're in the States or in Canada. They're easy to get to. They're not in the middle of some highway. They're usually in the center of the city. They do have a lot of good restaurants close to them because naturally it's kind of like, it's kind of like a, downtown experience. So I say it's a good experience not only with the film, but with the location that it's in and the festival it's in. So I say in the future, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to try and do that too. So I hope all of us here will do this because this film is almost like an amusement park. When you go to, an amusement park, you have, pizza and a slushie, and, you go on the ride, and then you have some sort of, drink afterwards if you're over 18 or 19. Same thing here. You go and see this sort of alternative, spooky, funny fairy tale type horror film, and before that you have some sort of exotic burger with sushi in it and a pina colada or something, and you go to a music party afterwards, something like that. I'm just trying to say that movies are almost like clubs or parties. You gotta eat well first and then watch it well first. You don't eat a bunch of hamburgers and then go on a huge wild roller coaster ride. Same thing here. You don't eat a lot of, or you don't go to your mother-in-law's party of meat pies after watching a film that has a lot of blood and guts. It's just gotta be careful. Gotta use your calendar. And on that note, hope you guys like this review and see you later. Bye bye.